Let's talk Clayton Kershaw.
Gladly. Chris, we saw yet again last night the ineptitude of Clayton Kershaw in the Major League Baseball postseason. And now at this point, we've seen it so many times in this Dodgers uniform. The exercise in futility at a certain point has to end. The Dodgers have a flourishing young lineup, just filled with guys that just trash and crush home runs left and right. One of the best scoring differentials in baseball, I think only second to the Astros. The team was just unreal this year. And when the time came and they needed their ace to go in and handle his business, he gave up back-to-back home runs to two guys on the Nationals. Now, granted, probably arguably the Nationals' two best players, but still. I think a change of scenery is something that both teams can benefit from. Kershaw still has a lot of value to his name, for sure, when it comes to being a starting pitcher in this league. I just think, though, I don't think it's ever going to work with the Dodgers.
Well, what do you mean it's never going to work with the Dodgers? Kershaw is an MVP, a 3-time Cy Young Award winner, an 8-time All-Star. Hell, he's won a Gold Glove at the pitcher position. He's gotten 5 different times he's won the ERA title. Like, what do you mean not going to work? It is very much working with with Clayton Kershaw and the Dodgers. I think that we get really carried away over a couple of bad postseason outings, right? The last 2 years, Kershaw has struggled a little bit with the 1.5 whip last year and the 1.41 whip this year. But it's such a small sample size. We're talking about 17.1 innings. It's bad luck is all it is. Clayton Kershaw was, and will always be one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. And I think it's crazy to say, nah, we're good, dog.
I'm not taking anything away from Kershaw as a pitcher, and not saying that he's not talented, but this postseason yips, I guess, is the best thing to kind of describe it as. It has to be concerning. I mean, a wise man once told me that big-time players step up in big-time games, and Clayton Kershaw is supposedly a big-time player, and he consistently comes up small when it matters. I understand the sample size is what it is, but, Chris, we're talking about trying to win championships here. I mean, this Dodgers team is arguably one of the best offensively in Major League Baseball history. They were dominant. They clinched the division by, early August. This team was unreal, and now they're in the same position me and you are, sitting on our couch watching the remainder of the postseason.
Well, let's talk about teams that are in a slightly different position. I was looking at Bovada Sportsbook for the odds on the World Series champions, and I think this is really interesting to me how this breaks down, and I wanted to get your take. Bovada has Houston at plus 170, the Yankees at plus 200, the Cardinals at plus 425, Washington at plus 425, and the Rays at plus 2,000. Where's your money going?
I mean, I like this Cardinals team. What the Cardinals did to the Braves and the resiliency that they showed, and even overcoming a lot of adversity in a situation where, they went into ninth innings down and losing and were able to come back and when it counted, really take advantage of a mediocre Braves pitching staff in certain spots. And I mean, they blew leads in that series too. Heartbreaking games. Game 3, where they went into the ninth inning with a lead and ended up losing that game, and it looked like all was lost for St. Louis. It's one of those weird things where, they weren't the best team all year. They weren't super dominant, but they were able to ride it out, win the Central, and here they are with 4 wins away from playing for a World Series.
Sure. I for the record, couldn't agree with you more there. I very much do disagree with you on this Kershaw thing, though. I think that what we're talking about in terms of Kershaw in the postseason boils down to nothing more than really bad luck. Kershaw over... oh boy, how many? 32 postseason games has a 1.1 whip. He averages 7.4 hits per 9 innings. These are numbers that win a Cy Young, not numbers that you get rid of. Now, has he been a little bit unlucky with his BABP and with a higher ERA because of just some dumb luck balls falling in. Yeah, he has. But he's putting his team in position to win games. These last 2 years are clouding judgments here. What about, in 2018 when he's got a 0 ERA? What about in 2017 in the NLCS with a 2.4 ERA, or the 2016 NLCS with a 3 ERA, or the 2015 NLCS with a 2.63 ERA, 2013 with a 0.69? This is a great pitcher who has had unfortunate bad luck.
Chris, I think the word you're looking for was a great pitcher. And that dominance, we've started to see that sort of fade a little bit in the world of Clayton Kershaw. And because there is still that perception that he is this elite pitcher, and for sure, he had another great season. He is certainly one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball history. I will never deny that. Kershaw absolutely deserves those accolades. But when you come up short like this, and you honestly, it's almost mind-boggling to think that a guy like this, of his caliber, of his talent, could come up this small in a situation like that again. And you can say bad luck. You can say, it's just these two hitters. But there's a reason why, social media goes crazy, and there's a reason why.
Oh, stop!
Playoff Kershaw
do not use
is a
Twitter
thing.
reaction as legitimate
Playoff Kershaw
information.
is a thing.
Playoff Kershaw is a thing. And forget it. What is this was a good pitcher nonsense? Kershaw had a 3.03 ERA and 1.04 whip this year. He was unbelievable. Now, he wasn't the same level of unbelievable as maybe he has been in the past. This is only the second time in his career his ERA crept over 3. But it only barely crept over 3. This is an elite pitcher. This remains an elite pitcher. And this playoff stuff is dumb luck. It's all of the numbers. I know you don't like the numbers. You're more of a feel guy. Always. But all of the numbers suggest that he's doing everything he needs to do to get the Dodgers into position to win, and that bad luck is the thing that is keeping him back and is holding him down here. Was he great these last couple of postseasons? No. But that was 17 innings, 3 starts. The
playoff Kershaw thing goes back to more than just these last 2 postseasons. I
read you the numbers.
That's
of
fine.
The previous
and
ones.
In big games, he's come up short. So if he has 4 starts in a postseason, because they've been going further and further each year, of course, if he's good in the DS or good in the LCS, but in the World Series he chokes, what do you want me to say? Listen, it's not that Clayton Kershaw is a bad pitcher. The argument is that the Dodgers need to separate from him. They need a change. He needs a change of scenery. This thing is going to continue to haunt him. Every time this guy starts in the playoffs, something weird happens. Is it dumb luck? Sure. Is it something like that? If that's what you want to chalk it up to, that's fine. We talk about it all the time with coaches and with teams. Guys, you were talking a couple weeks ago about Mike Tomlin needing to go in Pittsburgh because he's been there too long, and the changes, the guys stopped listening. It feels like a very similar situation for Clayton Kershaw in Los Angeles.
God, I just have such a hard time looking at this through the lens of totality over his career, because yes, Kershaw struggled in the World Series in 2018, and I'll admit that he pitched 11 innings. In 2017, he pitched 15 innings, and guess what? That whip was 0.89. 0.89. So to say that he struggled, that's not fair. The guy, we're talking 9.8 strikeouts per 10 to only 5.2 hits. And by the way, only 2.9 walks. He should have done much better than the ERA suggests. The ERA 4.02. I'll concede that. But that is dumb luck. If we're talking about like FIP and stuff like that, he looks great. It's pure dumb luck. And if the Dodgers are dumb enough to get rid of Clayton Kershaw, to rid themselves of one of the great pitchers of all time, then they deserve what's coming to them.
Yeah, a giant haul for a Hall of Fame player. That's what they deserve.
I don't know. What's that haul look like? I
don't know. Baseball's weird.
Baseball is definitely weird, but you also I don't know. He's reasonable for the next couple of years at $31 million a year, and there are some bonuses based on starts and Cy Young voting. But right now, there's $62 million left over 2 years, which is super reasonable for a starting pitcher that's going to hit free agency. Look at what guys like Patrick Corbin got last offseason. Look at Jake Arrieta and what the Garrett Coles of the world are going to get this offseason. I have a hard time blaming Kershaw for this. Now, if you're saying, oh, the Dodgers can get a giant return for Clayton Kershaw, I agree. And you know why they can? Because Clayton Kershaw remains one of the best pitchers in baseball today.
But the argument's not whether Kershaw is actually a good pitcher. The argument is that they need a change of scenery with this guy, and he needs it for his own sake. This argument is actually sort of based off that feel thing. It's based off of that. There's this narrative that has been built that Kershaw comes in, and whether the dumb luck or the stats, say it up, say yes or no to it. I mean, the guy's 9-11 in his postseason career, 4.43 ERA. I know, dumb luck, right? That's 158 innings, Chris. That's not a small sample size.
No, it is not. But you're also cherry picking stats, and you know that. You're not talking about that 1.1 WHIP, which is the best indicator of a pitcher's actual success.
According to analytics guys, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I agree.
But what we're looking at is the results here. And last night the Dodgers had a 3-1 lead, and their best pitcher, potentially in franchise history, behind what? Maybe Koufax?
Yeah, I think Koufax is above him.
Sure. So he's 2 probably in the Dodgers organizational history. You can maybe make an argument for Oral Hershiser. That's fine. Whatever you want to say. But he was in there to get 3 outs and make sure that his team, one of the best teams historically the Dodgers have ever had, get to play in the NLCS. And now they're all going golfing in Southern California.
Well, first of all, red flag warnings in Southern California. So be careful if you're out there and you may not have power. God knows I've been dealing with that for the last couple of days. Ugh. But it's been a nightmare, dude. I'm really lucky right now, but across the street from me, they don't have power. It's that tight.
It's so crazy to live in a state like that. I don't understand it.
Well, this is PG. So for those who aren't familiar with California, our electric company is PG&E, and PG&E is largely responsible for a fire which was titled the Camp Fire last year. It was one of the biggest fires in California history. Did billions, maybe even billions of damage. It just destroyed California. California was in a haze of smoke for the better part of 2.5 weeks. We couldn't see the sun. It was crazy. And PG&E got blamed because it started because of some faulty electrical wires. Now, they got sued, as you would imagine. The bejesus sued out of them. And now there is a law passed that PG&E can turn off power at their discretion to any area in which they deem there to be a red flag warning. They're not working, and I want to stress this, not working with the California government to decide when they should and shouldn't. They're total autonomy to do whatever they want. And I think a lot of this is literally pettiness. It's like, okay, you want us to be responsible? Fine, we're going to turn power off to 800,000 people.
Well, nothing screams, politics like pettiness.
800,000 people affected by this in basically all of California. Now, I do want to get back to this thing you touched on just a second ago prior to my PG&E rant, and that is where Kershaw falls all the time. I think Kershaw is 2. I think you're overrating Hershiser a little bit just because, it wasn't too long ago that he was out there. Hershiser retired in 2000. But you have to talk about guys like Don Sutton and Don Drysdale. I would think are above Hershiser.
Yeah, I for sure have a recency bias because I actually watched a guy like Oral Hershiser pitch and didn't catch a lot of Don Sutton or Don Drysdale games.
Greg, Drysdale pitched in '88. What year were you born?
1988.
Boom! And a lot of people don't know that your middle name is Donald because of Don Sutton.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. Dad was a big Dodgers fan.
I think it's really short-sighted for the Dodgers to make this move. let's put this in the lens of Philadelphia sports as we tend to do. I think we both agree that the big giant prize this offseason for Philadelphia is not Anthony Rendon, but Garrett Cole. So would you be willing to give Garrett Cole the, I don't know, $35 million a year he's going to be looking for, and then trade, 2 top prospects to go get Kershaw?
We have top prospects?
Alec Baum and Spencer Howard are pitching and hitting, irrespectively, exceedingly well right now in the AFL, and both had really strong years in the minors. Howard, all of a sudden, is hitting like 102 and looks great. I would. That would be interesting if all of a sudden Nola found himself as the number 3 on the pitching staff call sheet.
Well, it gives you a callback to 2009, 2010, 2011, where you had an elite pitching staff with guys who you could trust every day going out there on the mound. I mean, Garrett Cole, if he's not a top priority for a team like the Phillies, I don't understand baseball then. I mean, he's been nothing short of superb in his time with the Astros, and he was so good with the Pirates prior to that too. If the Dodgers were actually willing to trade Kershaw, and I don't necessarily know if they are, I think they should be, depending on what they're going to get in return. I mean, absolutely, I'd be willing to give that up. I still think Kershaw is a very good pitcher. I think that they need to change it up a little bit though around him.
So you're basically giving the pitching staff to Walker Buehler?
Yeah, I mean, Walker Buehler's been, again, also nothing short of fantastic. He looked great yesterday. And had an excellent season of his own.
Agree to disagree. It's a less dramatic version of the title of this show, but that's what's going to have to be where we settle here. Agree to disagree. I think if you have a guy like Clayton Kershaw, you should try to hold on with everything you have for as long as he will stay with you. If a guy like that's going to leave your team, it should be because he wants to leave, not because you want to get rid of him. So I don't know. We shall see how it will play out. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.